Yeah, the Mets don't want to talk about it.
Hey there, folks. My name's Tom. You know the drill. I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about vinyl reissues. Fishman had brought it up a week or two back in one of his videos, and I kind of wanted to touch on reissues. I'm in a real muddy area about them. Uh, First of all, I don't want to talk about personal preference. Everybody collects differently. Uh, and like I can go into my preferences another time. But the issue with vinyl reissues that I get stuck on is, I mean, we're not doctors or anything, but I kind of have this do no harm mentality about life in general. Do what you're gonna do as long as you're not messing with anybody else. Who cares? Now, early in September, this guy, he's probably about 80 years old, Ural Thomas. He's got a band in Portland called Ural Thomas and the Pain. He was an old time, you know, uh, blues singer, I guess, and recently got some younger people together, formed a band. They put out a record. They had a CD release party back in early September, and I was asking, hey, when are you guys putting out the vinyl, or do you guys have vinyl coming? And it's like the typical story, it's delayed. So I think the time for any band, whether you're being led by an 81-year-old guy, especially when you're being led by like an 80, 81-year-old guy who's like not got a whole lot of time left. If a band's out touring or playing shows, you should have the record right then and there. You don't want to come up with a new album and then just you're ready to go out and tour with the music. CDs, cassettes, digital downloads, that can all be done in like a week. But then, you're looking at 10 months where you're, waiting for vinyl to show up. 10 months you could be out of pocket on like thousands of dollars, depending on the size of how many vinyls you want to press. So, I kind of feel like that's harm, especially for a smaller band where, touring and selling merchandise while you're touring is a big deal. It helps pay for food and gas, and a lot of bands are not making money. They're just doing it for love of music and just want to get out there and play and be able to, afford to get from town to town, show to show, and maybe not have to, couch surf if they can avoid it. So anyway, vinyl reissues. We got Record Store Day coming up. Record Store Day, Black Friday, I should say. And it's the day after Halloween in the United States. I don't know how big it is in the rest of the world. Uh, but day after Halloween. Did I say the day after Halloween? I don't know. Day after Thanksgiving. I'm still in a funk about the Mets. Uh, but it's another record store day coming up, and for months and months and months, I'm sure you've had vinyl pressing plants tied up doing these records for record store days. A lot of which are reissues. I looked at the list that came out in the last day or two, and two things that jump out at me right away is like the debut album by the Clash, and then the Buzzcocks, their debut album. Another Kitchen. What the hell? I'm losing it. Anyway, those two records are just like so plentiful. There's so many of them out there. It's like it feels wrong to have record pressing plants tied up doing reissues of very common records. And I know why they do it. They do it because they know it'll sell. And Record Store Day is, it's a product of the big three record companies. So they're going to want to push their catalog. They're going to want to press things that they feel can be sold. I get it, but like I also feel like backing people up, backing people who are making new music today is rough. So I get I've been back into collecting vinyl for almost 2 years now. So, I go through a lot of, I'm not as set in my ways yet that people who never stop collecting vinyl may be. So, I'm kind of like the way I collect is still very, very fluid, still learning, and blah, blah, blah. But this is where I get hung up on reissues. Now, how much is like something like Record Store Day backing things up, or how much are like reissues during the year backing things up? I don't know. This is kind of where I get lost. And and then on the other side, like I saw a couple months back, here in Portland, Oregon, actually a suburb of Portland, Oregon, a record pressing plant actually opened. Some guys bought like 6 plants from someplace in Canada that they got via New Jersey and fixed them up. And this record pressing plant, Cascade Record Pressing, I think it's called, they're catering to local and independent musicians. So maybe this is a chance for things not to get backed up. Maybe I'm worrying about nothing. But there's this part of me that says, dude, you should really avoid buying these reissues, particularly the Record Store Day ones, especially the one in April where there's, so many records being pressed and that are reissues just for commerce on Record Store Day and backing things up at these record pressing plants. So I get hung up on like, should I avoid them? Which, although I haven't in the past, I am pulling way back on reissues now. A lot of stuff I can find pretty easily, the original stuff. So, it's kind of like I'm not sure if I'm just being ridiculous and worrying about something that I shouldn't worry about, because number one, if I stop buying reissues, not a goddamn thing's going to change because I'm just one person. So do I bother, or is this really not the problem I perceive it to be? So anyway, that's my issue with vinyl reissues. If you have any words of advice, just, leave them in the comments. I'd like to know what you're thinking. Am I worrying about something that's not worth worrying about? And I kind of think a little bit I am. I think you got to pick your battles in life. I don't know if this is a battle I can win or a thing that I can affect if, in fact, something is not quite right about this. So, there's plenty of battles in life. Maybe I should just kind of drop this one. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.